The thing that scares you most is actually your compass to success. Today we're going to unpack why the little knot in your stomach is actually a signpost that you're about to do something really worthwhile. Welcome back to Beyond 40 and Just Getting Started, the place where we dive into the journey of growth and abundance after 40. Derek Sivers says that if an idea intrigues you and terrifies you, it's probably an endeavor worth doing. I like that quote. For me today, the idea that intrigues me and terrifies me is that of raising external capital for my False Peak Summit Acreage. I know that that external capital is going to enable me to achieve the False Peak and enable me to get further in my challenge than I'd be able to do by myself. Additionally, I know that the skill set of being able to build the trust with LPs and raise external capital is going to be a skill that will benefit me for future false peaks beyond Summit Acreage. But that doesn't mean that the idea doesn't fill me with fear as well. Once I take on external capital, I have a stewardship responsibility for other people's money. That's a responsibility I don't take lightly. Additionally, as I go to seek capital, I'm bound to be rejected many times. Nobody likes rejection. And honestly, that's a concern in my mind I'm still working to overcome. As we all face these bold ideas in our lives, the human tendency is to default to the worst case scenario outcome. As we envision our future following down this path of this bold idea, our pessimism bias directs us towards a future image of absolute failure, of ruin, of humiliation, of the idea totally falling apart. That human tendency is a self-protection mechanism. The more we conform to the crowd, the less likely we're going to stand out. And if we don't stand out, that's the safest situation we can be in as an animal species. But for us who are intrigued by the prosperity pool, us who have realized that not everyone resides in the employee pool, and as we decide that we're going to take our step forward, we have to embrace some of that fear. We have to realize that that defense mechanism, that pessimism bias, is not a reality. And in the vast majority of cases, the real outcome of our bold decision is far from ruin. There's a saying from the famed investor Howard Marks, which really fits here. Trees don't grow to the sky, and few investments go to zero. I like that saying because it keeps us grounded. As we're out looking for opportunities to invest our capital, we're obviously hoping that these investment opportunities are really going to be profitable, that there's going to be home run swings every time we invest. But Howard Marks' comment helps us keep grounded and say, trees don't grow to the sky. The majority, the vast majority of our investments are not going to be life-changing for us by themselves. But the other side of Howard's statement is also just as important. Few investments go to zero. As we're faced with these bold choices, as we're intrigued by the idea, but at the same time terrified, that fear is the assumption that it's going to go to zero, that we're going to be ruined, that our reputation will be humiliated, that we'll have to explain to our friends and to our loved ones of how we failed. But Howard's reminding us that few of these go to zero. Yes, some do. We do need to acknowledge what the downside risk is, yes. But we need to acknowledge it from a pragmatic standpoint, not from a genetic proclivity to default to the worst case scenario. There is no way that we escape the employee swimming pool if we keep doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. That's the definition of the employee pool. It's conformity to the system, conformity to what society expects of us, conformity to the norms and expectations of our employers. If we want out, if we want to be sovereign, if we want to be independent individuals regarding how we use our time and the activities in which we get to engage in, boldness is required. The willingness to embrace the discomfort of the idea and realize that it's still worth pursuing, that's a skill set that we can all form. In fact, I've heard confidence described before as coming from making progress toward goals which we don't presently have the capabilities to achieve. Think about that for a minute. Confidence comes from willingly engaging in goals that we don't presently have capabilities to achieve. That means we have to stretch ourselves. That's where the confidence comes from. As I talk here about bold swings, it doesn't necessarily have to mean a life-changing swing that you take today. It can start with something smaller. It can start with doing something just a little bit different than you've done before. And as you stretch yourself to achieve that little goal that's slightly outside of your capability today, you start to build confidence. And then that confidence helps you grow and continue until you're really able to take the big swings that help you enjoy and succeed abundantly in the prosperity pool. As Wayne Gretzky has said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. I'm not content to stay in the employee pool. If you aren't either, then join me taking shots at your success. Trusting that the fear that you feel about the idea that terrifies you but also intrigues you is probably a compass towards your success, and it's probably an endeavor worth pursuing. Set yourself up where you can take shots on goal often and frequently. Little, big shots, it doesn't matter. More importantly is get the reps in. Get the muscle memory in place of how do I take bold shots? How do I get myself to overcome the fear I feel? Take a bold shot this week. Tell somebody who you trust what you're gonna do and then follow through with it. Use their accountability to help drive you over the fear hurdle. And then tell us in the comments below what the outcome of your shot on goal was. Whether it succeeds or whether it fails, the important thing is you tried. And without trying, you will never get to the prosperity pool. Thanks for joining.